الله أكبر الله أكبر، أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله، أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة، حي على الفلاح. الله أكبر الله أكبر، لا إله إلا الله.
الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين، مالك يوم الدين، إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين، اهدنا الصراط المستقيم، صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. أنا يا قوم اتبعون أهدكم سبيل الرشاد. يا قوم إنما هذه الحياة الدنيا متاع، وإن الآخرة هي دار القرار. من عمل سيئة فلا يجزى إلا مثلها، ومن عمل صالحا من ذكر أو أنثى وهو مؤمن فأولئك يدخلون الجنة بغير حساب. ويا قوم ما لي أدعوكم إلى النجاة وتدعونني إلى النار، تدعونني لأكفر بالله وأشرك به ما ليس لي به علم، وأنا أدعوكم إلى العزيز الغفار. لا جرم أن ما تدعونني إليه ليس له دعوة في الدنيا ولا في إن مردنا إلى الله وأن المسرفين هم أصحاب النار. فستذكرون ما أقول لكم وأفوض أمري إلى الله، إن الله بصير بالعباد. فوقاه الله سيئات ما مكروا، وحاق بآل فرعون سوء العذاب. غدوا وعشيا، ويوم تقوم الساعة أدخلوا آل فرعون أشد العذاب. وإذ يتحاجون في النار فيقول الضعفاء للذين استكبروا إنا كنا لكم تبعا فهل أنتم من النار. قال الذين استكبروا إنا كل فيها إن الله قد حكم بين العباد. وقال الذين في النار لخزنة جهنم ادعوا ربكم يخفف عنا يوما من العذاب. قالوا أولم تك تأتيكم رسلكم بالبينات قالوا بلى ماء الكافرين إلا في ضلال. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. إنا لننصر رسلنا والذين آمنوا في الحياة الدنيا ويوم يقوم الأشهاد يوم لا ينفع الذين كفروا معذرة سوء الدار يوم لا ينفع الذين كفروا معذرتهم ولهم اللعنة ولهم سوء الدار. إنا لننصر رسلنا والذين آمنوا في الحياة الدنيا ويوم يقوم الأشهاد يوم لا ينفع الذين كفروا معذرتهم ولهم اللعنة ولهم سوء الدار. ولقد آتينا إسرائيل الكتاب هدى وذكرى لأولي الألباب فاصبر إن وعد الله حق واستغفر لذنبك وسبح بحمد ربك بالعشي والإبكار. إن الذين يجادلون في آيات الله بغير سلطان أتاهم إن في صدورهم إلا كبر ما هم ببالغيه إنه هو السميع البصير. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. 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 ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Please take this moment to go to Surah Insan, aka Surah Al-Dahr, also known as Surah Al-Abrar. Either get yourself a digital on your phones or the Mus'haf, inshallah. Surah number 76, by the way. Who would volunteer to recite the first 3-4 ayat, inshallah? Go ahead. I'm not going to give you the mic because it's acting up.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. هل أتى على الإنسان حين من الدهر لم يكن شيئا مذكورا. إنا خلقنا الإنسان من نطفة نبتليه فجعلناه سميعا بصيرا. إنا هديناه السبيل إما شاكرا وإما كفورا.
جزاك الله خير. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم. As promised, to be taking off on our journey in attempt to understand, the message that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is sending to us through Surah Al-Dahr. This is one of the 2 surahs that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam chose to recite on a weekly basis on Fridays in Fajr Salah. I mentioned this before and I'll mention it again, that with you put of the Prophet ﷺ together in regards to Salatul Jum'ah, and it resonates this sense of formality, and also to develop a spiritual state and frame of mind, especially on Friday. Whether it's the recitation of Surah Al-Kahf, whether it's the Prophet ﷺ encouraging us to send salawat on him, whether it's the Prophet ﷺ encouraging us to find that particular hour of the acceptance of dua, coming together in the jama'ah, being one just for Jum'ah, the message of humility and humbleness is something that we are constantly reminded of. That we need to remain humble with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala firstly, with our families, with our children, with our fellow Muslim brothers and sisters and with humanity in general. The human being has no room whatsoever to walk arrogantly, to act arrogantly. The only time you look down on someone is when you're helping on someone, when you're helping them out, and looking down in the literal sense. So Surah Al-Dahr is also another surah, and inshallah within these 20 minutes we will realize and understand how hard the message of humility is hit in the first ayah of this surah. This surah is a Makki surah. There are differences of opinion amongst Mufassirin. It is 31 verses, 2 rukus. Surah number 76, by the way. 76. The end of 29th juz. The last surah, the last one being Al-Mursalat. Some Mufassirin explain that the first ruku' is Makki, the second one is Madani. The first is, the beginning is Madani, the second is Makki. Whatever the situation is, Makki or Madani, it is a surah that consists of 31 ayat. And I want to, usually when you study tafasir and the surahs, there is a connection that every surah has to the surah before it and then the surah after it. And I'm not even talking about in the connection in the course of revelation, in the placement of those surahs in the Quran, and connection between the surah before it, with the surah before any surah, and the one after it. However, there are similarities between Surah Al-Sajda, which is, surah number 32? 31 or 32 that we just finished, and this surah. 31? 32, yeah. The similarities between sandwiching both of these surahs together in those Fajr rak'ahs. One of the things that you are going to notice is the discussion of the hereafter. We talked a lot about that. We heard a lot about that in Surah Al-Sajda. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala draws a very closely parallel picture between, for those who accept, and the punishment of the fire of hell for those who reject. And then, just as we mentioned, we heard about how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala interjects the mention of Musa alayhi salam. And what was the reason for that? Why was Musa alayhi salam brought into that surah all of a sudden? How many of us were here for that discussion? Musa alayhi salam was brought in the middle of that surah. What purpose did that serve? Going through a very hard time with his people. Now tell me why Musa alayhi salam was mentioned? Yeah. And the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam met Musa alayhi salam in the night of Mi'raj and in Masjid al-Aqsa. فَلَا تَكُنْ فِي مِرْيَةٍ. You will meet him again. You will meet your brother again. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also provided comfort for the ummah. وَجَعَلْنَا مِنْهُمْ أَئِمَّةً. We made from amongst them leaders who guided with our permission, with our command, as long as they stayed patient and as long as they, likewise, it's a comfort for us. In the last ruku', in the second ruku' of this, إِنَّا نَحْنُ نَزَّلْنَا عَلَيْكَ الْقُرْآنَ تَنزِيلًا. In this surah also, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brings in a passage that offers peace, comfort, and solace, a consolation for the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, just as Surah Al-Sajda. هَلْ أَتَى عَلَى الْإِنسَانِ حِينٌ مِنَ الدَّهْرِ لَمْ يَكُنْ شَيْئًا مَذْكُورًا. Has there come upon the insan a time, حِينٌ مِنَ الدَّهْرِ, a period of time, لَمْ يَكُنْ شَيْئًا مَذْكُورًا, in which he was nothing worth mentioning. The word hal in Arabic, okay, and in Arabic is a particle that is used in the inquisitive, interrogatory form. So when you're asking about something, hal anta na'im, are you sleeping? Hal means are you, okay? Hal anta, nice. Hal anta this and that. So hal is used when you're asking a question, okay? And when you ask a question, what is the purpose behind asking a question? You're looking for what? You're looking for an answer, right? How are you feeling? So you're not giving me an answer, but I want an answer. How are you feeling? I'm a little sleepy, right? So in this particular ayah, the letter hal, although the form is in the question, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not posing a question. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is making a statement in the form of a question because the answer is very clear. So far I ask you today, it's such a beautiful day. Isn't it such a beautiful day? What am I meaning to say? Am I asking you? Am I trying to get your opinion? Am I trying to find out from you if it's a beautiful day or not? No. I'm posing my statement. So, هَلْ أَتَى عَلَى الْإِنسَانِ حِينٌ. Hal means qad. Indeed, a time has come upon. Hasn't a time come upon the human being? حِينٌ مِنَ الدَّهْرِ لَمْ يَكُنْ شَيْئًا مَذْكُورًا, where he was not even worthy of being mentioned. Now, حِينٌ مِنَ الدَّهْرِ. I'm going to break this down, okay? A period of time. What does it mean? What period of time? A short period of time? A long period of time? A really long period of time? The Mufassirin explain this, and where do they get the explanation from? From the next ayah. And I'm going to share that with you. In translation, indeed, we have created the human being from a mixture of sperm, nabatalihi, to test him, فَجَعَلْنَاهُ سَمِيعًا بَصِيرًا, and indeed we made him into someone who is sami' and basir. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about the creation of the human being, starting from liquid and turning into a body that has the sense of hearing and seeing. So Mufassirin explain that, and most Mufassirin explain that this haynun min ad-dahr, a long period of time where this human being wasn't even from the stage of inception till the fetus has fully formed. This is a time when the human being was not worth mention. And I'll explain to you how this applies. Some Mufassirin, they take it back even further than that. What does it mean? A period of time when that human being was not, where the mention of that human being was not made. So, we understand that the human being is made from a liquid called nutfa. Right? Sperm. The source of that liquid, it develops from the food that we eat. And we understand this very well in scientific research, that the food we eat affects a person's fertility. Healthy food, healthy diet, as a sabab, it leads to fertility, the health of a person's sperm, a healthy diet. Now, the Mufassirin explained that the time period in which this human being was not even made worth mention, it extends where the nutfa originates from. All the different foods that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has scattered throughout the entire, possibly throughout the entire globe. I mean, if we look at our diet, everything that we eat and drink, does it grow within our city limits? Probably most of what we eat is not from here. What grows here? The rice. A lot of us are rice eaters. We're not eating American rice. Right? You're not eating, strawberries maybe you're eating nowadays. But everything comes from afar. Everything that we enjoy, the spices that go in our food. All of these things that we are eating, that come to our table, they are brought from all over the globe. And when we eat, a portion of what we eat develops into what is called the nutfa. Now, a person, before they're created, could our imagination? It's unimaginable, unthinkable how scattered and where we are scattered. And Allah knows what, where our future children, where, in what loaf of bread or what food that substance will originate from. So beyond, the human being at a time was beyond, very, very far from the current existence that we are experiencing. I'm 38. 39 years ago, talking about. Yes, there is an idea that the grandparents have about having a kid, but guess what? Shay'an madhkur. When you mention something, when you talk about something, okay? So for example, I'm talking about you. Oh, Brother Umar Iftikhar, such a nice person, very humble. If I mention all of your qualities, and I talk about, I make your dhikr, your mention of who you are and how you are, can any of that mention be made 42 years ago? Oh, sorry, I was trying to be nice. Okay? The year before you're born, can a person be described and be made mention? Where you are non-existent and nothing. And under this, if you read certain tafasir, they go deep into the whole theological issue and refuting the Greek philosophers that the existence of the human being is eternal. But that's that's another whole deep discussion, and if you want to delve in that, I'll give you the resources. That, human beings' existence is eternal. It has always been. Subhanallah. Now, so it means good mention. There was a time when we never existed. And I want to share with you a few of Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu. He said, ليتها تمت فلا نبتل. I wish the case was that non-existence was never brought into existence so that I may be tested. I wish I was never here. Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu once sitting on a tree branch, and he addressed that bird saying, Tuba laki ya tayyib. How lucky you are, O little bird. تطير فتقع على الشجر ثم تأكل من الثمر ثم تطير ليس عليك حساب ولا عذاب يا ليتني كنت مثلك. Look at you, you go fly, you sit on branches, you eat from the fruit, and then you fly off. There is no account, there is no punishment, there is no nothing. I wish that I were you. Umar radiallahu anhu, he says, يا ليتني كنت كبش أهلي سمنوني ما بدا لهم. I wish that sheep for my family, that they would fatten up. And حتى إذا كنت كأسمن ما يكون. And then once I would be this nice, fat, juicy animal, they would slaughter me. فجعلوا بعض شواء وبعض قديد ثم أكلوني ولم أكن بشر. And some of them would grill me, and some of them would make me into the gravy, and they would eat me, and I wish I wasn't. This reflects their fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, هل أتى على الإنسان حين من الدهر لم يكن شيئا مذكورا. And this surah right off the bat is talking about the humility of the human being. That look, the person who thinks themselves to be somebody today, you were nobody for a very long period of time. Abdurrahman, 39 years ago, till the beginning of time, was nobody. And the humble beginnings that a baby starts with, and then that human being can reach at an age where they think they're somebody, where they can reject the one who created them. Inna khalaqna al-insana min nutfatin. Not only were you nobody for hundreds and thousands of years, or God knows, but even when you did come into existence, how was it? Inna khalaqna al-insana min nutfa. We indeed created the insan from a nutfa. It cannot be seen with the naked eye. The nutfa from head to tail is 0.05 millimeters. It cannot be seen with. And here is where the mention of Ba'ath will come. What was the problem in Surah Al-Sajdah that was being addressed with the pagans? Oh, really? He's going to bring us back up? We're going to be brought back to life? You started from a nutfa to begin with, amshaj, a mixture of nutfa, which tells us that it's not just one person involved, it's two people involved. Some mufassirin, for example, in Ruh al-Ma'ani, they even go to talk about, and probably those who are familiar with medicine will understand this, they talk about not only is the human being a mixture of these two nutfas, but before modern medicine, there was something called the four humors, where the human being is compiled and is made of blood, phlegm, yellow, and black bile. These four substances that are in a human being, and this is how people were treated. Whenever these four substances would go out of balance, that would result in a person being sick. Greek medicine, and it made its way into Islam as well, and then when modern medicine came around, all of that got put to a side. So all of these substances, we originate min amshaj. So now, I just shared with you where the nutfa comes from. As a result of human consumption, and we eat. And everything that we eat, it comes from what? It all originates from water that comes from the sky. And it goes into the ground. And it grows the plants that we eat, the fruit that we enjoy. And even the flesh and the meat that we eat graze off the vegetation and grass that grows in the ground that comes from the water in the sky. Death, grave, where are we put to rest? Where is the human body put to rest? In soil. And when it rains on the cemetery as well. So is it really so hard to understand? Is it really so hard to wrap a person's mind around the fact that if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did it the first time, why can't it be done the second time? When our existence is contingent upon soil and water. Inna khalaqna al-insana min nutfatin amshaj nabtalihi. And we put the higher purpose of our creation, of our existence, is so that we can be held accountable. Now, are we just brought into existence and held account without being given an opportunity or a chance? Like, are we brought into existence without the means of fulfilling our obligation to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? No. فَجَعَلْنَاهُ سَمِيعًا بَصِيرًا إِنَّا هَدَيْنَاهُ السَّبِيلَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala didn't just bring us into this void existence. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, In Tafsir ibn Ashur, there's a very beautiful point that is mentioned. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, we are made Sami' and Basir. Not Sami' and Mubsir. Because the faculties that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us, those faculties are to be used with the intention of tadabbur. In other words, when we look at something, we don't look at something just for the things around us. We are to use these eyes to look and think about what's beyond what we see. Basir, Sami' and Basir. When we hear things, we don't hear things just for the sake of hearing them. But we hear them with the intention of processing them. We see something with the intention of tadabbur and processing what we are seeing. So if we use the power of our sight and the power of our hearing and process everything around us, and what is that processed in? Inna hadaynahu sabil, next week. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has embedded within us the faculties and the capacity to realize that we are not here without purpose and in vain. We are here for an ibtila. And this takes a lot of using of the eyes and the ears and processing everything around us. وَفِي كُلِّ شَيْءٍ آيَةٌ تَدُلُّ عَلَىٰ أَنَّهُ وَاحِدٌ. Everything around us screams and look at those things in such a way. We have to process that information in such a way that will lead us to that. And then on top of that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent prophet after prophet after prophet. So we are here for ibtila. And I'll end by just pointing out one thing. SubhanAllah. We should thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on a daily basis for putting us on the straight path. And we should continue on a daily basis to keep us on that straight path. Will everyone do that? We all do that. We don't do it once a day. We do it multiple times a day. We do it in every unit of our prayer. And what is that? Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Hidayah is such a great gift from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that even if you are not conscious of it, Allah makes you thank Him every single day. Your prayer is not valid without asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to keep you on that straight path. Think of it for a second. Think of it every time when you're reading Surah Fatiha. Think of it that way. You're not just reading a surah for your prayer to become valid. You're thanking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You know why? Because imagine for a second we were not born in the homes that we were born in. Hidayah is the decision of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There is no doubt about that. We are guided. We have Islam because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted us to become Muslim. But imagine if we were not born in a Muslim house. And in the daily lives that we are living, many people who consider themselves Muslims, who are Muslims, we take our religion for granted. Imagine if we weren't born in that household. Do you think we would be able to use our faculties and intellect with everything that is going around us to land on the fact that, you know what, there is one Allah who needs to be worshipped like this? Think about it for us. Look at the billions of people in the world who don't have this understanding. And we were born with this. We were force-fed this. And alhamdulillah for that. But think for a second, are we taking our religion for granted or not? A couple of weeks ago, a few of us, we went We accepted an invitation at a church. And I'm sitting there. Brother Haytham left. Who else was there? Anyone was here? How did you leave? Within the first 5 minutes, I'm like, this doesn't make sense. This doesn't make sense. You're either divine or you're not. How can you be both? You can't. It's either day or night. It can't be both. You're either alive or dead. You can't be both. Science. It's not rocket science. But in spite of that, the guidance is not there. So we have to thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for being guided, because you know what? If we weren't born in this, or especially if we're Desi and we know the history of what it means to be a Desi, where our ancestry probably falls all the way back to idol worship in Hindustan. Imagine if guidance didn't come to our ancestors. Would we be able to figure it out? He placed us, and we will continue to ask Him to allow us not to take our religion for granted. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to allow us to read in between the lines and to increase us in our guidance. Jazakumullahu khair. Subhanallah wa bihamdi, subhanakallah wa bihamdik, nashhadu an la ilaha illa